So I was listening to a podcast. It was the Bobo and Flex podcast. Bobo said a really interesting point, and I wrote it down because it just stood out to me. I'm started doing that a lot if I'm listening to a podcast or watching a live or consuming anything really. I'll start writing down sentences or ideas or things that are mentioned that stick out to me. So, personally, I don't find happiness that compelling. I don't think it's even a worthwhile pursuit. I value curiosity more than happiness, comedy more than happiness. I think relief from pain is a more satisfying feeling than joy. This is what I've decided is valuable to me. It made me think about this idea of happiness and how it permeates our entire world. There's so many self-help books on happiness. There's so many influencers that are selling happiness. There's just this constant need to be happy. And as we all know, happiness is an emotion, so it's not constant. And you might have a moment of happiness, but it's fleeting. And I really liked two parts of that. I loved how she said that it's not compelling. I just thought that was really funny because it made me think about what I value and what are those, not so much emotions, because comedy, curiosity aren't emotions. They're like ways of being or like tools, strategies. But it made me think about what I value personally, and maybe you can think about what you value and if happiness is one of those measures. I'm not saying that if you value happiness that it's somehow wrong, because I don't think that, but I do think that it's challenging if you prioritize happiness over every other way of being, because like I said before, it comes and goes, and then when you're not feeling happy, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you feel sad or there's a problem or to freak out. It just means that you're in a different state. Another thing that I really liked was that she said, this is what I've decided. And I think there's so many things in society that we just attribute as facts. Like, everybody wants to be happy all the time. That is the goal. Even I was thinking the other day about success. A lot of people, when you ask them, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? A lot of people will say, I see myself as successful. But what does that even mean? Like, for one, I notice that they'll say, I will be successful. And then there's two things. They either go to milestones that society has told us are measuring sticks of success. So they'll say, I just want to be successful. I want to have kids. I want to have a good job. I want to have a house. I want to have a car. Or they'll say, I just want to be successful. And that's it. And you're just sitting there like, but what does that mean? And I don't think that you necessarily need to share your plans with everybody. But I have noticed that it is really important to be clear on what you want. But then, this is the Libra mode. This is definitely the Libra mode coming out. It's like, on the one hand, you have to be super clear about what you want, And in order to achieve a goal, it has to be very specific. I have seen that as fact. But then in the same token, I noticed that some things I don't have figured out. A lot of things. And sometimes just doing one thing or taking one step with a lot of uncertainty brings you clarity. Does that make sense? Like, sometimes I'll be like, I want this. There's been times in my life where I'm like, I want this. And I'm tunnel vision on that thing and I get that thing. And then other times, I'm just kind of in the space of I want to be in this environment, or I want to be around these types of people, or I want to do this general thing. And through that, I will meet somebody or learn about something which will bring me to something else. So I don't know if it's a mixture. I don't know if being clear is the way to go, although like scientifically proven that's how goals are achieved. How did I get here? I was talking about happiness. I guess what it makes me realize is that your happiness, which most people tie to success, all comes down to what you value and what you prioritize. And I think that we know what society values. We've learned it all our life, what they deem as important, what they say they deem as important, and then what they actually show as important to them. But what are your value systems? I think that's what I'm going to start exploring more, because I have a general idea about what I care about. But I think that what I care about and what is the word to use? Like, find compelling, or like find what I find to be those measuring sticks, I guess, for lack of a better word. I think that's really important to overall success. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. And there was something else I was watching that was talking about, that's so crazy, because I was on a live. I was on a live, and I want to figure out who said this. Michelle Cast. I hope I'm saying her last name right. I watched it a couple days ago, so I forgot. But basically just talking about how society, again, puts so much emphasis on finding your passion, following your passion, doing things that you're passionate about. And she was saying that an approach that is a little bit more helpful is, instead of following your passion, follow your curiosity. Because curiosity allows for more exploration, whereas when you hear what are you passionate about, sometimes people just think I'm passionate about one thing, or they're like, I'm passionate about a lot of things, so there must be something wrong. I really like that approach, and I think it's interesting how this is the second time in things I've been consuming this week that the term curiosity has come up, and curiosity has been put on the radar, or put basically on a pedestal, in opposition to something that society deems as super important, be it passion, beauty, happiness.